Princess Elizabeth was a young girl when she first met Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark. She was only 13 years old, and he was a handsome 18-year-old naval cadet. The meeting happened at the Royal Naval College in Dartmouth in 1939, just before the world was plunged into war. Elizabeth was reportedly smitten from that very first moment. She saw in him a spirit of adventure and a confidence that was different from the formal world she knew. Their connection was immediate and powerful, a quiet spark that would soon grow into a flame that would last a lifetime, even though the coming years would test them in unimaginable ways. Their romance blossomed through letters during World War II. While Philip served bravely in the Royal Navy, Elizabeth did her part at home, joining the Auxiliary Territorial Service. The distance did not weaken their bond. Instead, it made their feelings stronger. His letters brought the excitement of the outside world to her sheltered life, and her letters were a source of comfort and stability for him. This period of correspondence was crucial. It allowed them to get to know each other on a deeper level, away from the prying eyes of the court and the pressures of their royal duties, building a foundation of true friendship and understanding. After the war, their courtship became more serious. Philip would visit the royal family, and his lively personality and sense of humour charmed many, though some in the royal court were sceptical of his foreign roots and bold nature. But Elizabeth's mind was made up. She had fallen in love with the man, not his title or background. She saw his strength, his loyalty, and his unwavering support for her. He was the one she wanted by her side, a partner who could understand the unique path that lay ahead of her, a path she did not yet know she would have to walk so soon. The couple's engagement was announced in July 1947, much to the delight of the public. It was a story of true love that captured the hearts of people who were tired of war and hardship. The young princess had chosen her own partner, a decision that showed her quiet determination. Their relationship was built on a shared sense of duty, mutual respect, and a deep, abiding affection that would become the bedrock of her long reign. This early chapter of their lives was a fairy tale romance, but it was also the beginning of a partnership that would shape the modern British monarchy for over 70 years. Elizabeth and Philip's wedding in November 1947 was a beacon of hope for a nation recovering from the devastation of war. Britain was still facing rationing and austerity, but the royal wedding provided a much-needed splash of colour and celebration. People from all over the country, and indeed the world, felt a personal connection to the event. It symbolised a fresh start and a brighter future. For Elizabeth, it was the fulfilment of a personal dream, marrying the man she loved. For the country, it was a moment of unity and joy, a reminder that even in difficult times there was still room for love and happiness. After their wedding, the newlyweds enjoyed a period of relative normalcy, especially during their time in Malta. From 1949 to 1951, Philip was stationed there as a naval officer, and Elizabeth joined him, living as an officer's wife. This was a precious time for her, a rare chance to experience life outside the strict confines of royal protocol. She could drive her own car, go to the local hairdresser, and socialize with other naval wives. These years in Malta were filled with sun, freedom, and the simple joys of being a young wife and mother to her first two children, Charles and Anne. This period of domestic bliss was instrumental in strengthening their marriage. It allowed them to build a life together on their own terms, away from the constant scrutiny of the public and the demands of the palace. Elizabeth cherished this freedom, and it gave her a taste of the life she might have had if destiny had not chosen a different path for her. The memories of Malta would remain with her throughout her life, a reminder of a simpler time when she was not yet a queen, but simply a woman in love, building a home with her husband and young family. However, the shadow of her future role was always present. Her father, King George VI, was in declining health, and Elizabeth had to take on more royal duties. Her time in Malta was frequently interrupted by tours and official engagements. While she embraced her responsibilities with the same sense of duty she would later become famous for, these interruptions were a constant reminder that her idyllic life could not last forever. The couple knew that a great change was coming, but they could never have prepared for how suddenly it would arrive, forever altering their lives and the course of their family. The life that Princess Elizabeth had known came to an abrupt end in February 1952. She and Philip were in Kenya on the first leg of a Commonwealth tour when they received the devastating news that her father, King George VI, had died in his sleep. At the age of just 25, the young princess instantly became Queen Elizabeth II. The moment she stepped off the plane back in London dressed in black, her personal grief was overshadowed by the immense weight of her new public role. She was no longer just a wife and mother. She was the sovereign of a nation and the head of the Commonwealth. This sudden accession to the throne was a profound change for Elizabeth and her family. Her relationship with Philip was fundamentally altered. He had to give up his promising naval career to support her as her consort, a role that had no clear definition. It was a huge personal sacrifice, and it took time for them to navigate their new dynamic. She was now his queen, and he had to walk 2 steps behind her in public. Their private life as husband and wife had to coexist with their public roles as monarch and consort, a delicate balance they would have to maintain for the rest of their lives. The coronation in June 1953 was a magnificent spectacle, televised to millions around the world. It was a moment that formally marked the beginning of a new Elizabethan era. The ancient ceremony, steeped in tradition, saw Elizabeth make a solemn oath to dedicate her life to the service of her people. It was a promise she would keep with unwavering commitment for over 70 years. The event was a powerful symbol of continuity, linking the past with the future. But it also highlighted the enormous personal responsibility that now rested on the shoulders of the young queen. For Elizabeth, becoming queen at such a young age meant sacrificing much of her personal freedom forever. Her days were now dictated by red boxes filled with state papers, official audiences, and a relentless schedule of public duties. The carefree days in Malta were a distant memory. She had to master the complexities of statecraft, remaining politically neutral while providing wise counsel to a succession of prime ministers. Her life was no longer her own. It belonged to the crown and the people she had pledged to serve, a duty she accepted with grace and resolve. Throughout her long reign, Queen Elizabeth II became a symbol of stability in a world undergoing rapid and honestly often turbulent change. She ascended the throne when Britain was still grappling with its post-imperial identity and, oversaw its transition into a modern multicultural nation. From the Cold War to the digital revolution, from the rise of television to the age of the internet, she remained a constant and reassuring presence. While governments came and went and social norms shifted dramatically, the Queen was always there, a steady hand guiding the monarchy through decades of transformation. She faced numerous challenges that really tested both her and the institution she represented. The 1990s, in particular, were a difficult period, which she famously described as her annus horribilis, or horrible year. The decade was marked by marital breakdowns among her children and a devastating fire at Windsor Castle. Public criticism of the monarchy grew, and questions were raised about its relevance in modern society. The tragic death of Diana, Princess of Wales, in 1997 brought this scrutiny to a head, and the Queen faced pressure to adapt her traditional approach to connect with a grieving public. In response to these challenges, Elizabeth showed a remarkable ability to adapt without compromising the core traditions of the monarchy. She embraced change when necessary, agreeing to pay taxes and opening Buckingham Palace to the public to fund repairs. She slowly modernized the royal family's image, becoming more open and accessible over time. Her annual Christmas broadcast became a personal message to the nation and the Commonwealth, where she often reflected on themes of community, faith, and hope, offering comfort and a sense of shared experience to millions of people watching from their homes. Her unwavering sense of duty was, really, the defining feature of her reign. She saw her role not as a job, but as a lifelong vocation given to her by God. This deep-seated commitment earned her immense respect both at home and abroad. She was a figure of unity, a living link to the country's history, and a symbol of national identity. In an ever-changing world, her steadfast presence provided a sense of continuity and reassurance. People looked to her in times of national crisis and celebration, knowing she would be there to offer quiet strength and a sense of permanence. Queen Elizabeth II's legacy is one of unparalleled service and steadfast dedication. For over 70 years, she was a constant in the lives of generations, a figure who embodied the spirit of the United Kingdom. Her reign was the longest in British history, a testament to her remarkable stamina and unwavering commitment to the promise she made on her 21st birthday that her whole life, whether it be long or short, would be devoted to service. This promise became the guiding principle of her existence, shaping every decision she made as monarch. Her passing in September 2022 marked the end of an era. The world mourned the loss of a queen who had been a permanent fixture on the global stage for as long as most people could remember. The outpouring of grief was immense and deeply personal, reflecting the genuine affection and respect she had earned over her long reign. People remembered her for her quiet dignity, her subtle sense of humor, her love for her corgis and horses, and her ability to connect with people from all walks of life during her countless engagements and walkabouts. With her death, the crown passed to her eldest son, who became King Charles III. The transition was seamless, a testament to the stability of the institution she had so carefully nurtured. The beginning of a new reign brought with it a sense of change, but also a deep appreciation for the continuity she had provided. Her life's work had been to ensure the monarchy would endure, and she succeeded. She'd guided it through periods of immense social and political upheaval, leaving it in a secure position for her successor to build upon. Ultimately, Queen Elizabeth II will be remembered as a monarch who put duty above all else. She was a symbol of hope and stability, a unifying force in a fragmented world. Her legacy is not just in the length of her reign, but in the quiet, steadfast way she fulfilled her role. She showed the world that a life of service could be a life of meaning and purpose. As the second Elizabethan age came to a close, the world looked back on a remarkable life, one defined by grace, resilience, and an unwavering promise kept to her people for over 70 years.